Hey everybody, Tony here. It is turn 3 of the Narvik campaign. It is now April 16th to 19th. This turn, the Germans get the 198th Infantry Division, which is immediately staged to move across, along with a pair of independent artillery battalions and a truck. I've got to start getting these headquarters across, and the airfield at Aalborg is finally reopened, so I can start moving things out of there. So the last turn ended with the Norwegians reinforcing the southern tip of Norway. They had an opportunity to counterattack at Bergen, but ended up not taking it because I really, honestly, did not think that both of the German battalions would be disrupted. And up at Namsos, the British have landed and established a supply base. And I forgot to move anti-aircraft over to support them. I'm just going to do that real quick, because generally that is a rule of thumb that once you get a supply base established, you need to supply it with anti-aircraft. And I'm missing an anti-aircraft. I must have forgotten to bring the French one in. So I will do that next turn. Or if I decide to go after the supply base, it'll magically appear up there. So the Germans are in the process of trying to break out of the Oslo area. They took Oslo last turn. The Norwegians decided to move north and establish a defensive line. And the Germans are going to be quick to rush up to meet it. Meanwhile, there is going to be a regiment of the 181st Division here landing at Oslo. This group here is going to land at Drammen. And these are also 181st Infantry Division. It is their artillery regiment and the 349th Infantry Regiment. This group right here is going to attempt to land at Arendal, capture it, and then move on Kristiansand and the airbase there, because I need to try to start getting fighter cover and dive bombers in there. So let's start with Oslo very quickly. And of course, the last one is sunk. So that's Oslo. And then Drammen. One is sunk. And the Royal Navy and their allies appear to be very, very active this turn, because that's 4 battalions out of 15 so far that have been sunk. 9. And then finally the landing at Arendal. And forgive me if I mispronounce a non-native language. I can imagine how frustrating it is for people who live here in Norway or in the area to hear Americans like me mispronouncing the names of their cities and towns. So, They made it. The landings at Drummond got torn up. That's not an auspicious start for the Germans this turn, although it is for the Allies. So we need to move these over to sunken transit. And that's 4 battalions lost. And 4 battalions sunk in transit. So that's 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Bringing the Allies to 22 points. And that's not too terribly bad so far in the game. I've played games where the Allies had 20 plus to 30 points by the end of the second turn. So here we go. It is. Now that is done. It is the movement phase. And moving across, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're not moving on the rail line, because one thing that is slowing them down in this version of Narvik as opposed to the original version is it does cost movement points to entrain, and they just don't have the movement points to spend once they reach that area. So this battalion here is going to move up and capture the airfield. So I can 12, 61, 1, 2, sign. Oh, we got a double interdiction going on. So, because I had 2 pieces selected, it had it gave me 2 interdictions, but the interdiction turning, rotating is still not working because these are still the old pieces. So it's been fixed. I've tested it. I know that it's been fixed. If I were to replace either of these counters, then it would rotate. But we're going to just put that in there and move on to attack there, because we've got to try and move as quickly as we can. So if we want to move artillery through that forest there, forest is going to cost us 2 movement points. So if we were to jump on a train, that'd be 1, 3, 4, 2. So we're going to take this from Oslo. We're going to entrain, which is 1. We're going to spend a movement point to move there. We're going to move into the forest there. I'm going to try and cut these units off. 3, 4, 1. That's 10. 10 to 6. Not odds that I really want to face at the moment. So we're going to put these two have landed at Arendal. I'm going to get the full regiments here. So this is the 196, the 181, 334 goes to Arendal, and the 233rd goes there. These go to Drummond, and these two go to Oslo. And they're going to immediately hop on a train. They have 2 movement points they can expend. 1, 2, 3, 4 to cut that off, because this flank was wide open for the Norwegians to do whatever they get behind the lines. And so 214th. 2 and 3 of the 388. Oh, so let's see. They came from there, so that's 1, 2. So they're going to meet up with 1, 2, 1, 2, 4. So after capturing that airfield, they can move on. So, no, they can move on to here. Meet up with these 2 battalions to reassemble 388 of the 214th. Come on, where are you? And they're going to drag 2 supply depots along with them. This is 196th. 2, 3. Wooded Rough is what? Wooded Rough is 1. So 1, 2, 3. No, back up 1. Gonna go there. Block the northern end of Lake Mjosa. We don't have enough to make it across the river. But we're gonna get them an artillery unit. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna get an artillery unit to them. We need to get an artillery unit. 1, 2, 3. Don't have enough to get there. We can get rid of that. So these that have landed at Arendal, they spend 1 to get onto the train, and 1, 2, 3, and that's 2 movement points. 2, 4, 2, 3, and these two. So we can go ahead, and hopefully my voice is being able, this is picking up my voice as I'm speaking very, very low. So 3/45 of the 196th. So we can merge them, reassemble them as we prepare for Christian Sand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not quite ready to attack just yet. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 3, 3, 1. And we'll go ahead and slide on into here. That way I now have a triple threat towards those. 181st. 1, 2, 3, 4. Heading off for towards Bergen. So as you can see, the whole area that the Germans hold is rapidly expanding. They've now pushed to the Swedish border over here on the east. However, as I'm looking things over, we need to stop this regiment right there, where he is still within striking distance of supporting an attack. 4, 1, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, sitting right there will prevent this artillery unit, this mountain artillery unit, from sneaking in through the rail lines and getting into my rear areas and wreaking havoc on my undefended airfields. So, whoops, you don't want to go to Finland. Come on. You don't want to go to Finland. So, 4, 3, 6, 7. Oh. I never flipped that. So, 1, 2, we're going to flip that. So we have an attack here. And it looks like really the only attack that we have. I would attack with these if I had enough movement points to get down in there. 1, 1, 2, 3. But I can't ride in there on the rail. So I have to stop short, and I don't have enough to get in there. Let's see. 2, 3. Let's put the French in there because this is really starting to bug me. Oops. The French have ships that are just have this amazing capacity of being able to go up shallow draft rivers. So once again, all that the Germans can do here at Trondheim is just sit and wait, because this is beginning their second turn of being out of supply, and the same goes in Bergen. They can only sit and wait for relief, which I'm hoping will be coming shortly. Now, these 6, I think that is all of the movement. Yeah, I believe that is all of the movement. So these 6 transports are going to be returning to Germany. We'll just put them off to the side there, that they have returned. Meanwhile, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So I have a total of 12. And from Kiel, oh, that's not enough. I need to learn, like I was doing the last time, and go 20. I need to add that to the map thing. So range from Kiel to there is 27. So in order to move a battalion, it'll take 6. And range from Kiel to there is 26. So anyway you look at it, it's going to take 6. So, question is, I have the 69th Infantry Division here, and the 214th, so 69 to 196th. 69, 214, 181st. So we need to get the 181st over there. So 181 and the 69th. Let's get that over there. Now, this is going to be tricky because, like I said, the Royal Air Force has a great coverage over southern Norway. And as we jump back out to hide that. From here to there's 28 hexes. So 27 hexes from Aalborg. 27, 40, so a total of 42 hexes there. Because I need to start thinking about the air phase. And I think that most everything that is there range. I think that blend just barely covers Trondheim, but the skuas would be just a little short. But the skuas are just a bit short, but they can still cover the Oslo area. So one of the things that does have Germany in a bind is that they have a lack of fighter cover right now. And let's not that. Take an ME-110C. Let's oops. Extended, yeah, I thought that was X. Even at extended range, it still cannot reach. The airfield's there. This airfield has got to be captured for them to get into the country. Unless I move them up here. What to do, what to do, what to do. I'm going to pause this momentarily and then come back. I'm not going to sit here and think about this and just waste video space and waste time. So I shall return after I get this figured out. And for you, it'll be a blink of an eye. But I shall be back. So one of the problems that I've been having is that I've been unable to find any real definition of airbase capacity. For example, this airbase here has a capacity of 9, but what does that mean exactly? Does it mean that only 9 air units can be there at the end of a turn? Does it mean that only 9 air units counters can take off from it during a turn? I really don't know, so I'm going to err on the side of caution as I've been doing and just assume the capacity is the number of air units that can be present at the end of the turn. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take these dive bombers and this heavy fighter, and the heavy fighter, the Ju-88C, is going to fly an escort mission up to this airbase here with the dive bombers. The dive bombers are flying at extended range. So they're going to transfer there, and these Ju-52s are going to fly to that same airbase and land, and they're flying at extended range, and they're going to bring in the 181st Infantry Division headquarters. Meanwhile, we've got 11 Ju-52s here, and these will be flying at normal range. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this should leave 2 there, which it does. And they're going to be flying 3 supply counters. 3 supply depots. And they're going to fly to the same hex, but they're going to be airdropping the supplies. And they're all going to be under the same umbrella of the escort fighter. Meanwhile, we will take 3 of the ME-110Cs and we will transfer them to Copenhagen. In order to get them just a little closer put the ME-110C there, and those should all be Ju-88s. And let's see. So these 3 are also going to be taking a supply counter. And at a range of 37 hexes, let's jump back out and go back to 20%. Let's look at normal range for them. This may take a few seconds to process, but they can easily get to Trondheim. So they are going to be flying an air drop mission to get critically needed supplies there. Bergen. Bergen. That's going to be painful. So what do we have available? We have 2 Ju-52s there. And this transformation is going to have to be flown at extended range. So it's going to have to be 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. So both of these are going to be taking supply depots up to Bergen, however you pronounce it. Now, one thing that I did realize that I forgot to do during the last turn was when the British here were intercepting the transports that were carrying supplies here. There were 6 of them, and I set 5 of them up in one wave and 1 in another. The first wave, there was no results. I forgot to move on to the second wave. And so, even though it wasn't recorded, I did roll for that, and oddly enough, it again came up with no result, which is, for some reason, the dice ended up getting hot on 6s for a brief period of time. So I did that to fix that issue. Now the bombers. So we have 2 there. These are 6. Those are coming from Germany. So I can take these ME-110Cs and I can fly them to here along with the dive bomber. Oops. Clearing out most of Germany, trying to get air units, as many air units into Norway as I possibly can, as quickly as I can. So now the next move is to try to neutralize Sola Air Station. Go from here to there's 24, so that's just barely extended range for them. And from Germany, range is just barely, ever so barely. So these, all of these still have to fly at extended range, except for these three here. We have there. $30. So we're going to be flying the Ju-88s up here to try to disrupt that group. And this group we're going to take to Stavanger. To try and neutralize that airbase. These three are also going to go, but they are flying in normal range. So now the question becomes, where do we intercept? Because there may need the Royal Air Force may need to make an escape back to England. So I've got to keep it here on the coast. 4, 11. And going up against the bombers isn't really going to help them much. I accidentally grabbed the 110Cs and brought them along for the ride. So back you go. So I believe that it is best to intercept over Bergen and see if I can get any of the transports down. So there's no AA there, no AA there. So we spread everything out for air combat. Here's the British air units. Here are the German. Five, 6. 1, 2. Okay, so we got 6 weeks, 6 each. We got to break them down into groups, into waves of 5. So that is 11 to 10. So using that'll be 1 to 1, and they need a 6 or less. And to get a 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6, 9. So the transports fire back at 1 to 2, and they miss. So moving on to the next wave. Let me drag this down just a little bit to make it a little easier to see. So the British get 2 kills and 1 abort, and the Germans get 1 kill and 1 abort in return. So 2 kills and 1 return. So allied air units eliminated. Air units eliminated. So let me quickly update the turn chart. The Allies get 1 for each air unit destroyed. So that's 1, 2. But they lose 2 for losing an air unit. So that leaves them at 7 to 4. That's not quite 2 to 1. So they're still at 1 to 1. 1, 2, 5. That's 1 to 4. No. 2 divided by 5 is 4 divided by 10. 1, 2, 2/5 is 40%. Hang on, I gotta. I'm having a brain freeze at the moment. I'm doing this math. So it comes out 1 to 2.5, which is 1 to 3. So, let's see, 7 to 4, so 1 to 1. Ow. 2 kills, 1 abort, and then 1 to 3. Complete and utter miss. So, the British ended up doing their job because with the loss of 1 in the third wave, which was part of the 1 of the 6 that was carrying supplies, all the supplies are destroyed. So now Bergen is in major trouble. As next turn when they go the third turn out of supply, they will have a combat strength of 0. Right now, as it is, they have a combat strength of, let's see, 1.5. They have a total combat strength of 7.5 as it stands right now, or 0.75, which is less than 1. So 5, 6 divided by 0.75. So 6 divided by 0.75 equals 8. 8-to-1 odds they are facing. So, German charge. I really did not want to take that risk, but I felt I had no choice. Okay, so that's 2 more victory points that the Allies gain. And really, because there is nowhere else for them to go, because this airbase is likely to be shut down. This one is in danger of being captured. The Allies choose to head back to Hatston Field in Britain. I try to do my best to protect my transports, but this right here, this is a case of where it just didn't work out, unfortunately. And the British just absolutely chewed them up. So, since these are flying at extended range, we're going to spread them out to where they get at least 5 points each. These get 7, though it's going to work out the same. And these 3 get 5, 5, 7. So we'll start with these, and they each have, they hit on a 4, 5, or 6. So 1, 3, that is 3 hits. So 1, 2, 3, and then this group 4, 5, or 6 hit. Second group 4, 5, or 6. And that one was a miss. We got 3 to go. 1 hit. Hit. And a miss. So it's a good thing that the British decided to not try to land there anymore, because that air base, it's going to be shut down for a while. Send these back to where they came from. In fact, we're going to 1, 2. We're going to just send all these back to Kelbenhaven. Leave that open for transports. Now, ultimately, while it was costly, the skies over Norway are now safe for German transports. So meanwhile, let's clear the map a little bit. These air units drop their supplies. That group immediately is immediately back into supply. So Trondheim is safe. And these transports all head back to Germany after dropping their supplies. Now, one of the things I'm curious about, head back to Germany. One of the things that I am curious about is over here on the left edge of the map. We have Hatston Field, which is 1 hex away from here. In theory, well, not in theory, it is 21 hexes to Hatston Field. Bergen is still under the air umbrella of the British. Now this group, flying at extended range, also. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3 and a third. Each one is going to take a shot at the Torkildsen Brigade. They will hit on a 5 or 6. The first one's a miss, second one's a miss. So the Torkildsen Battalion able to find cover. And they withstood the German bombing. So now we come to combat. (12-2, 6-1), and the Torkildsen Brigade rolls for retreat, and they get the hell out of there. And the Hog Regiment has to stay put, and they are overrun because they have no combat strength. So as the Germans start pushing to the north to try to break through, the Norwegians bend, but they don't break. So the next turn, that's another, oh, that's the one that has the... So overall, I mean, it was a good turn from for the Allies. That's for dang sure. Germans are still trying to get units into the area. There were some German successes, but while the Germans could still conceivably escape from Bergen, things are not looking good for them there. So I wonder if, I mean, it's a dangerous place to ship to. So I wonder if, I'll have to look at the rules. I wonder if shipping supply into Bergen with them, sacrificing 1 battalion to ship in with them. But I don't know. I don't know that that's necessarily worth it. So, anyway, moving on to the Allied half of the April 16th to 19th turn. We are in mid-April. More Allied units will be arriving, including, I believe, French Alpine regiments to be sent to the north. So that will begin shortly after I get a chance to review the order of battle. Okay, so the third Allied turn. The French and the British are racing reinforcements to the area to try and hold the Germans off. We're going to start with the 5th French Mountain Regiment that arrives this turn, and it is going to land at Harstad along with a supply base. You can see the supply base there, and their mission is going to be to try and recapture Narvik from the Germans. The rest of the reinforcements, the 146th Brigade, British 146th Brigade, also arrives, and it's going to land at Namsos. This is going to be where the primary Allied defensive line is going to be. Marine units can stack freely in port, so these do not count against stacking. And we're going to throw another 2 points AA there. Not that it's going to make a lot of difference, because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 14 points. The Germans have so many bombers that they will likely be able to destroy this port and this supply base, just not even really trying. So now we go on to Norwegian mobilization to see what units they managed to get this time. And this time they get 4 battalions. This is turn 3. 1, 2. Or they get 2 battalions. Excuse me, I got my numbers reversed. 1, 2, 3, 4. So starting at 16. So they get the 16th all the way up at Tromsø. Let's head north to Tromsø. Come back. There's Tromsø. And this battalion is really going to do little more than just garrison that port. And then the 5th, let's close this real quick, get down to the 5th Mobilization Center, which is somewhere around here. There it is. Oh, and they're overstacked, but so we're going to disrupt one of the headquarters units. So we got 1, 2, 3. Actually, we're going to disrupt both of the headquarters units because that's still overstacked, because I haven't had the opportunity to move them just yet. So the 5th. Oops. Wrong chart. The 5th. We're going to put that 2-4 battalion there. And somebody needs to, well, we don't need to disrupt anybody because it's the beginning of the turn. They haven't been able to move yet. And then up here at Bergen, we have The Germans are no longer disrupted, but they are still have because of their supply situation. Because they can be up to 6 movement points away, so that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I believe that would be 6, probably 7 or 8. Game chart, mountain, non-motorized unit is 2. That is, actually that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? Let me double check. Narrow straights plus 2. So yeah, so that would be 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they're still a long ways away from receiving supply. So the Germans have closed in close to Christiansand. At this point, it's really probably not wise to continue to try to defend a minor airfield. So the mountain artillery is going to reinforce Christiansand. Over here on the line, we're going to take the disrupted headquarters and move them out of the hex so that they are no longer overstacked. And then we're going to take them, the infantry gun unit, we're going to move them there to reinforce that line of approach. And then these guys, that's 1, Woods is 1, I believe. Woods 1. So these 3 are 1, 2. And so now they have got a frontage completely blocking the approach to Trondheim. Now, because the 146th has just landed, let me zoom in just a little bit, they cannot move this turn. But the 24th Guards and the 148th can. And they are going to hop a train, and they're going to head down here to defend the airfield. So they've now spent 3 movement points. What do we have here? I'm going to move that out of the way, and we're going to move 1 British unit in there and 1 British unit down here. And we're going to move an infantry over there to try and get around and block off Trondheim once they get around this lake. So that's 1, 2, so they can actually move all the way there. So now Trondheim has been sealed off, albeit weakly, but sealed off nonetheless. These units are going, while they are in supply, they are not going to go anywhere. And if I want to attack, I've got to get another supply unit in there. Over here at Bergen, the Germans only have 3 defensive points, and if I can get lucky and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right now, the Norwegians could attack at a 2-1. But if I get lucky and can disrupt one or both again, then I can up that to a 4-1, maybe possibly even a 3-1. So the Norwegians are going to move in and attack and try and take Bergen back. Up to the far north. Troops are going to continue moving southwards. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 6th and 7th. How are they? The 7th Brigade only has the artillery. So this is going to move into this hex and join the brigade headquarters. 1, 2, 3, and this one is also going to move down and join the brigade headquarters. So now there are 2 full Norwegian brigades. Stationed just outside of Narvik. I need a composition. Let's grab this, put it in there. Make sure I haven't overfilled these others. Oh, that would get to do with an artillery unit. I wonder if there's an artillery unit around there somewheres. No, there is not. So, this unit here, after moving it down, after studying the map, I realized that I probably should have been sending them north to try and cut off Narvik from the rear. That way this supply depot just can't sit there by itself. So we're going to turn around and we're going to start moving north again. This railroad at this time does not exist, as denoted by that railhead marker. This unit is going to just sit and protect that mobilization center. And this unit, I can move it via sea lift to an adjacent port, and I ultimately want to get it here to Bodo. And there is question as to whether this is considered adjacent. So to be safe, I'm just going to sea lift it to that port there. From there I will sea lift it to Bodo. And again, the idea is to get them into this port and start swinging them north. And they may be able to cut through the mountains because they are a mountain battalion. So we're going to do the air phase. And these swordfish are going to come in again and attack each one of the Germans. And they hit on a 5 or a 6. 2 to 4, 5 or 6. So we're going to go at the 3rd Regiment first. And they missed. And then we're going to go to the 1st Regiment. And they hit. So that one is disrupted again. Which is going to caused some problems for the Germans trying to get out of there. Allied charts. Let's put these back on their carrier. So Bomber Command is going to leave Bergen alone for now. There's one hit in anticipation of the Norwegians recapturing the airfield. Which means I've got to figure out, okay, so what target can I hit? 18 points there. So we're going to take everybody in Bomber Command. We're going to fly them at night, again, at extended range. And we are going to break them into 2 groups of 3. And I'll give them 18 versus 12, which is not quite 2 to 1, so that'll be 1 to 1. And let's see, 18 to 9. I would give them a 2 to 1, so we need to rearrange this. So we will put, to make that 10. So it's 18 to 10 so that they cannot gain a 2 to 1 advantage and do more damage. And as you can see here, just to the right of the hit, there are 3 anti-aircraft battalions present. Let's go to the game chart. Air-to-air combat, 1 to 1. First round, let's see, 4, 8, 11. So yes, that's 1 to 1. And we roll 1. That's a 3. So 1 eliminated. So that one has been destroyed. And that's going to cost 2 victory points to the Allies for losing that. But we don't put it anywhere because it's just going to automatically reappear next turn. And then finally, we are 1 to 1 on the other one, and that rolls 5, so there's nothing there. So flying at night, flying extended range, they were reduced to 1/3, so there's 2 points each. So 5 or 6, 1, 2, and they 1 hit, and they managed to shut the airbase down again. Alright, no. Because that should have disappeared. So they've got 1 hit on the airbase, and then 1, and then 2, because that one's going to be, let's see, half, 0.3. So that's basically only going to give this a 2.3. So, 1, 2, and they achieve another hit, and shut down the airbase again. So, even flying at night, or even with all the AA, there's very little that the Luftwaffe can do because they have no night fighters. Let's go ahead and throw those back in there and mark everything as moved. Then go up to here. So we have 3, so 1.5, and then 0.75 is 2.25. So I need to figure out, grab the handy dandy smartphone calculator, and 6 divided by, let's see, what did I say? 1.5, 0.75, 2.25 equals, really? 6 divided by 2.25, 2.6, so it's a 2 to 1. And it is in rough, and I don't think that in this game rough has any impact on combat. Rough, no effect. Oops, I want to keep that open. And so we're attacking at 2 to 1. We roll our d6 and we come up with a 4. No effect. Well, ain't this going to be fun? So, everybody just kind of holds their ground right there. So that is pretty much the end of the Allied turn. They took a shot at the Germans in Bergen. Sorry, I got distracted there for a second. And that's pretty much it. The Allied turns always move a lot faster than the German turns. The Royal Air Force that's been chased back to Hatston Field, really, there's not a lot that they can do. You know, I suppose that they could have flown fighter. I suppose that they could have also flown a bombing mission. $20, $21 hexes. Yeah, they could have reached Bergen. So, let's see, 0.05. 1.5 equals 4. So we could have jumped from So let's hedge the bets just a little bit. Let's say that the skuas are coming in to bomb, and they're going to bomb the non-disrupted one. And they have 2 bombing factors each. So that means they can hit on a 5 or a 6. And they do hit. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, sometimes I hedge my bets, and like I said, sometimes I don't always strictly follow the rules, especially in a situation where the skuas are off map and they're not sitting here on a table next to me. I have to remember that they are on a chart here. So if we look at 4 to 1, and what was the roll? Look at 4 to 1, Narvik game chart. 2 to 1 was no effect. 4, defender half eliminated. So they do get 1, and they force the other one to retreat. Didn't want that one. Let's move him out. The chart is destroyed. German chart. Flip. That's eliminated. Back for you. You go over there. That's eliminated. That is recaptured. That is eliminated because I forgot to eliminate it earlier. So the Norwegians recapture Bergen. And so there's still a couple of doorways open for the Allies here. They still got 7 points of defense, and while they may get trapped in there, at this point they don't care. So that is the end of, before I forget, +1, stay +1, and then we will move this forward. So ends April 19th with the Norwegians showing some teeth. But now we move on to April 20th to 23rd. And we will see how the Germans react to this next turn. So I will talk to you later.